The galactic trading hub was loud and busy. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds walked through its massive halls. There were tall creatures with scales. There were short creatures with fur. There were things that floated and things that crawled. The air smelled strange, like metal and spices mixed together. In the middle of all this chaos stood a small figure. Her name was Yuna. She was human, and she was very far from home. Yuna was not tall. She stood at 5 feet and 2 inches, which was short, even for a human. Her black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. She wore plain clothes, dark pants, a gray jacket, and boots that had seen better days. She carried one small bag over her shoulder. That was everything she owned. She walked through the crowd carefully. Most of the aliens around her were much bigger. Some were 7 feet tall. Some were 8. A few were so large that Yuna had to walk around them like they were buildings. Nobody paid attention to her. She was too small to notice. Yuna was looking for a ship. She needed to travel to the outer colonies, and the only way to get there was by cargo vessel. Passenger ships did not go that far, so she had to find a captain willing to take her. She stopped in front of a docking bay. A large ship sat inside. It was old and had rust on its hull, but it looked strong. The name on the side said Iron Wake in Galactic Common Script. Standing near the ship's ramp was a group of aliens. They were Velki, a species known for trading and fighting in equal measure. They had blue scales covering their bodies, yellow eyes, and hands with sharp claws. The smallest of them was still 2 feet taller than Yuna. Their leader was easy to spot. He was the biggest one, with darker scales and scars on his face. His name was Torak, and he was the captain of the Iron Wake. He was talking to his crew when he noticed the small human walking toward them. Torak stopped talking. His yellow eyes looked down at Yuna. Then he started to laugh. It was a deep, rumbling sound. His crew looked at him, confused at first. Then they saw what he was laughing at. They saw the tiny human standing there with her small bag and her plain clothes. They started laughing too. "What is this?" Torak said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "A lost child?" Yuna did not react to the laughter. She waited for it to stop. When it did not stop, she spoke anyway. "I need passage to the outer colonies," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "I can pay." This made the Velki laugh even harder. One of them, a female with lighter scales named Vessa, wiped tears from her eyes. "Pay?" Vessa said. "With what? Your tiny bones?" "With credits," Yuna said. She opened her bag and showed them a credit chip. "Double the normal fare." The laughter slowed down. Torak's eyes moved to the credit chip. It was real. He could see the amount displayed on its surface. It was more than he usually charged. "You are serious," Torak said. "Yes." Torak looked at his crew. They were still smiling, but now they were also curious. Why would this small creature pay so much for passage on a cargo ship? "Where do you come from?" Torak asked. "Earth," Yuna said. "Earth?" Torak repeated the word like it tasted bad. "I have not heard of this world." "It is a small planet," Yuna said, "in the Sol system, very far from here." "Must be very small," one of the crew members said, "to make creatures like you." More laughter. Yuna waited again. Torak studied her. She was strange, this human. She did not seem afraid. She did not seem angry at their jokes. She just stood there waiting, like she had all the time in the universe. "Why do you want to go to the outer colonies?" Torak asked. "I have business there," Yuna said. "What kind of business?" "Private business." Torak did not like that answer, but he liked the credit chip. Double fare was double fare, and what harm could this tiny thing cause? "Fine," Torak said. "I will take your money, but you stay out of the way. You do not touch anything. You do not talk to my crew unless they talk to you first. Understand?" "I understand," Yuna said. "Good." Torak gestured to Vesa. "Show her to a cabin." Vesa looked annoyed. She did not want to babysit a human, but she followed orders. She grabbed Yuna's arm, not gently, and pulled her toward the ship. "Come on, little thing," Vesa said. "Let me show you where you will sleep." Yuna let herself be pulled. She did not resist. She did not complain. She just followed. The inside of the Iron Wake was dark and cramped. The halls were built for Velki, which meant the ceilings were high but the spaces were narrow. Everything smelled like oil and old food. The metal walls had scratches and dents from years of use. Vesa led Yuna deep into the ship. They passed the crew quarters, the cargo hold, and the engine room. Finally, they stopped in front of a small door at the end of a hallway. "This is your cabin," Vesa said. She opened the door. Inside was a space barely bigger than a closet. There was a thin mattress on the floor and nothing else. No window, no furniture, just walls and a mattress. "It is not much," Vesa said with a mean smile, "but it is perfect for someone your size." Yuna looked at the tiny room. Then she looked at Vesa. "It is fine," Yuna said. "Thank you." Vesa blinked. She had expected the human to complain. She had expected anger or sadness. But Yuna just walked into the room and set her bag down like it was a luxury suite. "Strange creature," Vesa muttered. Then she left, closing the door behind her. Yuna sat on the mattress. It was hard and uncomfortable, but she had slept on worse, much worse. She opened her bag and checked her things, a change of clothes, some food bars, a small knife hidden in a secret pocket, and one photograph, old and worn, of a man and a woman smiling. Her parents. They were gone now, taken by raiders 5 years ago. That was why she was going to the outer colonies. That was her private business. Yuna put the photograph back in the bag. She lay down on the mattress and closed her eyes. The ship hummed around her as the engines started. She felt the vessel lift off and leave the trading hub behind. Outside her door, she could hear the Velki crew laughing and talking. They were still making jokes about her, about how small she was, about how weak she looked, about how humans must be the most pathetic species in the galaxy. Yuna smiled in the darkness. Let them laugh, she thought. Let them think what they want. They did not know what humans were. They did not know what humans could do. They had never seen a human fight. They had never seen a human survive. They had never read the old reports from the first contact wars when humans had faced species 10 times their size and won. But they would learn. Everyone learned eventually. The ship flew into the darkness of space. The stars stretched into lines as it jumped to faster-than-light speed. And somewhere in a tiny closet cabin, a small human with nothing but a bag and a photograph fell asleep. She dreamed of her parents. She dreamed of fire. And she dreamed of the day she would find the raiders who had taken everything from her. That night, the ship's long-range sensors detected something in the distance, something moving fast, something coming their way. But nobody noticed. The crew was too busy laughing about their human passenger. They did not check the sensors. They did not see the warning lights blinking. By the time they noticed, it would be too late. The alarm woke everyone on the ship. It was a terrible sound, loud and sharp. It cut through the walls like a knife. Red lights flashed in every hallway. The whole ship seemed to shake with the noise. Yuna opened her eyes. She was on her feet before she was fully awake. That was something she had learned long ago. When alarms sound, you move first and think later. She grabbed her bag and opened the door of her tiny cabin. The hallway outside was chaos. Velki crew members were running in every direction. Some were shouting, some were grabbing weapons. All of them looked scared. Yuna had never seen a Velki look scared before. She stopped one of them as he ran past. It was a young male with pale blue scales. His name was Dask, and he was the ship's engineer. "What is happening?" Yuna asked. Dask looked at her like he had forgotten she existed. His yellow eyes were wide with fear. "Keth," he said. Then he pulled away and kept running. Keth. Yuna knew that name. Everyone in the galaxy knew that name. The Keth were raiders, pirates, killers. They were an insectoid species, creatures that looked like giant insects with hard shells and sharp limbs. They traveled in swarms, attacking ships and stations. They took everything of value, and they left no survivors. No survivors. Ever. Yuna moved through the ship toward the bridge. She had to see what was happening. She had to know how bad it was. The bridge was at the front of the ship. When Yuna arrived, she found the door open. Inside, Torak stood at the center console, staring at the main view screen. His crew surrounded him. Nobody was laughing now. On the view screen, Yuna saw the enemy. There were ships, dozens of ships, maybe hundreds. They were small and fast, shaped like black beetles with red lights on their wings. They moved together like a school of fish, turning and diving as one, a swarm. That was the right word for them, and they were getting closer. "How many?" Torak asked. His voice was quiet. Vesa checked the sensors. Her hands were shaking. 342 ships, she said. All armed, all heading for us. 300? Another crew member whispered. We cannot fight 300. We cannot run either, Torak said. They are faster than us. They will catch us before we can jump. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They were going to die. There was no escape. The Keth would board the ship, kill everyone, and take everything. That was how it always happened. That was how it always ended. Yuna stepped onto the bridge. The Velki turned to look at her. For a moment, they seemed confused. They had forgotten about her again. The small human, the tiny passenger. What are you doing here? Torak growled. Go back to your cabin. And do what? Yuna asked. Wait to die? Torak opened his mouth to answer. But before he could speak, something strange happened. A panel on the bridge lit up. It was an old panel covered in dust and scratches. Nobody had used it in years. But now it was active, glowing with soft blue light. A voice came from the panel. It was cold and mechanical, like a computer but older, much older. Bioscan initiated, the voice said. Unknown life form detected on bridge, beginning species identification. Everyone stared at the panel. Torak looked confused. What is this? He asked. The ship's database, Vesa said slowly. The original system. It came with the ship when we bought it. I thought it was broken. Species identified, the voice continued. Designation, human, origin world, Earth, Sol system. Yuna felt something cold run down her spine. The database was scanning her, reading her, learning what she was. Torak snorted. Human. Yes, we know. She is our passenger, a weak little creature from a weak little world. Initiating threat assessment, the database said. It did not care about Torak's words. It just kept talking in its cold, empty voice. Cross-referencing species data, analyzing combat history, analyzing survival patterns, analyzing psychological profile. The bridge was quiet. Even the Keth alarms seemed distant now. Everyone was listening to the old machine. Threat assessment complete, the database said. There was a pause, a long pause. The blue light flickered. Then the voice spoke again. Species, human. Threat level, 9. Torak blinked. What? Threat level, 9, the database repeated. Maximum advisory. All personnel are warned. Do not engage human subjects in combat. Do not provoke human subjects. Do not underestimate human subjects. Vesa laughed nervously. That cannot be right. Look at her. She is tiny. Threat assessment is based on comprehensive data analysis, the database said. Data includes first contact war records, human military history, human survival statistics, human psychological resilience factors. First Contact War? Dask asked. What is that? The database answered. The First Contact War occurred 200 standard years ago. Human military forces engaged the Vorn Collective. The Vorn Collective was rated Threat Level 7. They possessed superior technology, superior numbers, and superior physical strength. The war lasted 4 years. And? Torak asked. What happened? The Vorn Collective no longer exists. The bridge went silent. Completely silent. Even the alarms seemed to stop. Humans possess several unique biological characteristics. The database continued. Adrenaline response, temporary increase in strength, speed, and pain resistance during combat or stress. Persistence hunting adaptation, ability to pursue prey across extreme distances until target collapses from exhaustion. Pack bonding instinct, willingness to sacrifice self for group members. Spite reflex, tendency to continue fighting even when victory is impossible, purely to damage the enemy. Torak stared at Yuna. She stared back. Humans have survived 6 extinction-level events on their home world, the database said. They have fought wars lasting decades. They have hunted apex predators for sport. They have killed members of their own species in numbers exceeding billions. They are considered one of the most dangerous known species in the galactic database. This is insane, Vesa whispered. This cannot be true. Additional warning, the database said. Human threat level increases significantly during combat scenarios. When humans perceive threats to themselves or their pack members, all safety limitations are removed. Recommended action: surrender immediately, do not fight, do not run, submit, and hope for mercy. The database went quiet. The blue light faded. The old machine had said everything it needed to say. On the view screen, the Keth swarm was closer now, minutes away. The black ships moved like hungry insects, eager for blood. Torak turned to Yuna. For the first time since they met, he did not look at her like she was small. He did not look at her like she was weak. He looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Is it true? He asked. What the database said. Is it true? Yuna did not answer right away. She looked at the view screen. She looked at the swarm. She counted the ships in her head. 342. That was a lot. That was too many for normal people, but Yuna was not normal. She was human. She turned back to Torak. Her eyes had changed. The warmth was gone. The patience was gone. Something else was there now. Something old and cold and dangerous. Do you have weapons on this ship? She asked. Torak nodded slowly. Show me. The weapons locker was at the back of the ship, near the cargo hold. Torak led Yuna there himself. His crew followed behind, still looking confused and scared. The locker was a heavy metal box bolted to the wall. Torak opened it with a key from his belt. Inside were guns. Lots of guns. Plasma rifles, energy pistols, shock grenades, and blades of different sizes. It was a good collection, better than Yuna had expected. We are traders, Torak said, but space is dangerous. We need to protect ourselves. Yuna looked at the weapons. She picked up a plasma rifle and checked its power cell. Full charge. Good. She set it aside and picked up 2 energy pistols. Also full charge. She took those too. These will work, she said. Vesa stepped forward. Work for what? There are hundreds of them. Even with weapons, we cannot win. You cannot win, Yuna said. But I can. She said it simply, like she was talking about the weather, not bragging, not boasting, just stating a fact. The Velki looked at each other. They did not know what to think. This small human was either crazy or something else entirely. The database said humans become more dangerous during combat, Dask said quietly. What did it mean by that? Yuna strapped the pistols to her waist. She held the rifle in her hands. Then she looked at Dask with those cold, empty eyes. It means we stop holding back, she said. Before anyone could ask another question, the ship shook. A loud boom echoed through the halls. The lights flickered. "They are here," Torak said. His voice was tight with fear. "They are boarding." Yuna moved. She pushed past the Velki and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" Torak called after her. "To meet them," Yuna said. She did not look back. The Keth had attached their ships to the Iron Wake's hull. They were cutting through the metal with plasma torches, making holes big enough to enter. Yuna could hear them. The sound of burning metal, the sound of clicking and hissing, the sound of hungry creatures preparing to feed. She found the first breach point near the cargo hold. A section of the wall was glowing red hot. In seconds, it would fall away and the Keth would pour through. Yuna waited. She controlled her breathing, slow in, slow out. She felt her heart beating in her chest. It was fast, but she did not try to slow it down. She let it race. She let the adrenaline build. This was the thing the database had talked about. Adrenaline, the human survival drug. It flooded her body now, making her muscles tight, making her senses sharp. The world seemed to slow down around her. Colors became brighter, sounds became clearer. She could hear every click, every hiss, every scrape of metal. The wall fell. Keth raiders poured through the hole. They were exactly as ugly as the stories said. Tall and thin, with bodies covered in black shells. They had 4 arms and 2 legs, all ending in sharp points. Their heads were like skulls, with big compound eyes and mouths full of needle teeth. They made a terrible clicking sound as they moved. The first one through the hole saw Yuna. It stopped, surprised. It had expected to find scared aliens running away. Instead, it found a small creature standing perfectly still, holding a gun. Yuna fired. The plasma bolt hit the Keth in the chest. The creature exploded in a spray of green blood and shell fragments. Before its body hit the ground, Yuna was already firing again, and again, and again. The Keth were fast, but Yuna was ready for them. She did not panic. She did not waste shots. Every pull of the trigger killed an enemy. The rifle hummed in her hands as it sent death into the swarm. 5 Keth fell, 10, 15. They kept coming. There were too many. The hole was not big enough for all of them. So they pushed and climbed over each other, desperate to get through. Yuna used this against them. She aimed for the ones in front, and when they fell, they blocked the ones behind. 20 Keth, 25. Her rifle beeped, low power. She dropped it and pulled out her pistols. They were smaller, less powerful, but faster. She kept firing. A Keth got close, too close. It swung one of its sharp arms at her head. Yuna ducked. She felt the air move above her hair. She pressed her pistol against the creature's belly and fired. The Keth screamed and fell. Another one came from the side. Yuna spun and kicked it in the leg joint. The Keth stumbled. She shot it in the face. This was what humans were. This was what the database had tried to explain. Humans were not the strongest species. They were not the fastest. They did not have claws or shells or venom. But they had something else. They had 10,000 years of war in their blood. They had the instincts of hunters who had chased prey across endless plains. They had the madness of creatures who had survived ice ages and plagues and monsters. And they never, ever stopped. Yuna fought for what felt like hours. In reality, it was only minutes. The Keth kept coming, and she kept killing them. Green blood covered her arms and face. Shell fragments stuck in her hair. Her muscles burned. Her lungs screamed for air. But she did not stop. Behind her, watching through a security camera, Torak and his crew saw everything. They saw the small human move like a demon through the boarding party. They saw her dodge attacks that should have killed her. They saw her keep fighting even when she was cut, even when she was bleeding, even when any normal creature would have fallen. "What is she?" Vesa whispered. Torak did not answer. He could not answer. He had no words for what he was seeing. On the screen, Yuna grabbed a Keth by its throat. The creature was twice her size, but she held it like it weighed nothing. Adrenaline, that was the word. It made humans strong, impossibly strong. She threw the Keth into its companions. 3 of them fell. She shot all 3 before they could get up. The Keth swarm began to hesitate. They were used to easy prey. They were used to scared victims who ran and screamed. This human was not scared. This human was not running. This human was hunting them. For the first time in their lives, the Keth raiders knew what it felt like to be prey, but there were still too many of them. Even Yuna could not fight forever. Her pistols ran out of power. She dropped them and pulled out her small knife. The blade was only 6 inches long. It looked like a toy compared to the Keth's claws. Yuna did not care. She ran at the nearest Keth and jumped. The creature tried to grab her, but she was too fast. She landed on its back and drove her knife into its neck. Green blood sprayed. The Keth fell. She was on her feet before it hit the ground. Another Keth, another kill, another enemy down. The knife was too small, too slow. She needed something else. She looked at the dead Keth around her. Their arms, their sharp, deadly arms. Yuna grabbed one of the fallen creatures and broke off its arm. The limb was as long as a sword and sharp as a razor. She tested its weight. Good. Very good. She smiled. It was not a nice smile. The remaining Keth saw her holding the arm of their dead companion. They saw her smile. They saw her eyes. And for the first time in their history, the Keth swarm felt fear. The cargo hold had become a slaughterhouse. Green blood painted the walls. Dead Keth lay in piles on the floor. The air smelled like burning metal and death. Yuna stood in the middle of it all, breathing hard. The Keth arm blade dripped in her hand. Her clothes were torn. Her skin was covered in cuts and bruises. Blood ran down her left arm from a deep wound. She did not feel the pain. Not yet. The adrenaline was still pumping through her body, blocking everything except the need to fight, the need to survive, the need to win. The first breach point was clear, but there were more. The Keth had cut through the hull in multiple places. She could hear them in other parts of the ship, clicking and hissing as they searched for prey. Yuna moved. She did not run through the hallways like a scared animal. She moved like a hunter, quiet and careful. She listened for sounds. She watched for shadows. She used everything she had learned in the years since her parents were taken. The Iron Wake was a maze of corridors and rooms. Yuna did not know the ship well, but that did not matter. She had something better than a map. She had instinct. Humans were pack hunters. For thousands of years, they had chased prey across open land, tracking animals by sound and smell and the smallest signs. That instinct was still there, buried deep in Yuna's brain. She used it now. A clicking sound to the left. 3 Keth, maybe 4, moving through the engine room. A hissing sound above. 2 more crawling through the maintenance tunnels. A scraping sound behind. 1, alone, trying to sneak up on her. She spun and threw her blade. The Keth arm sword flew through the air and buried itself in the sneaking raider's chest. The creature made a surprised gurgling sound and collapsed. Yuna walked over, pulled out the blade, and kept moving. The ship's systems were still working. Yuna found a control panel on the wall and studied it. Life support, gravity, lights, door locks. Everything was here. She smiled again. Humans were not just hunters. They were also tool users. They built traps. They used their environment. They turned the world itself into a weapon. Yuna started pressing buttons. In the engine room, the gravity suddenly increased. The 3 Keth inside found themselves pressed to the floor, unable to move. Their shells cracked under the pressure. They screamed, but nobody came to help them. In the maintenance tunnels, the air vents opened. Freezing cold gas flooded the narrow spaces. The 2 Keth crawling through them froze solid in seconds. Their bodies became ice statues. In the crew quarters, the doors sealed shut. A group of 7 Keth found themselves trapped. They clawed at the metal, but it was too thick. Then the lights went out, and they were left in perfect darkness. Una walked to the crew quarters. She stood outside the sealed door and listened. Inside, she could hear the Keth panicking. They were clicking wildly, bumping into each other, trying to find a way out. Darkness did not bother humans. Their ancestors had hunted at night, using patience and planning to catch prey that could not see them. The Keth had compound eyes. They needed light. In darkness, they were blind. Una opened the door. She moved through the dark room like a ghost. The Keth could not see her. They could only hear her footsteps, soft and quiet on the metal floor. They swung their claws at nothing. They screamed at shadows. One by one, they fell. When Una left the room, 7 more bodies lay on the floor. Torak watched all of this through the security cameras. His crew watched with him. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just stared at the screens in shock. The human was everywhere. She moved through the ship like death itself, finding Keth and killing them. She used guns when she had them. She used blades when she did not. When she had nothing else, she used her bare hands, her feet, her teeth. Yes, her teeth. Torak saw it happen. A Keth grabbed Una from behind, wrapping its arms around her. She could not reach her weapons, so she turned her head and bit into the creature's arm. She bit hard, tearing through shell and flesh until the Keth screamed and let go. Then she finished it. "Humans bite," Dask said weakly. "She bit him." "I saw," Torak said. His voice was hollow. On the screen, Una kept moving. She found another group of Keth near the bridge. These ones were smarter. They had set up a defensive position, hiding behind cargo crates with weapons ready. Una did not attack from the front. She climbed into the ceiling. She crawled through the space between the panels, moving silently over the raiders' heads. Then she dropped down behind them. The fight was over in seconds. Somewhere on the Keth mothership, the swarm commander was watching reports come in. Boarding Team 1, destroyed. Boarding Team 2, destroyed. Boarding Team 3, heavy losses, retreating. Boarding Team 4, no contact, assumed destroyed. The commander clicked in confusion. This was impossible. The target was a simple cargo ship with a crew of 12. They should have been easy prey. What was happening? Then one of the surviving raiders sent a message. It was broken and scared, filled with clicks of pure terror. "One creature," the raider said. "Small, fast, will not die. Killed 40 of us. Keeps coming. Keeps killing. What is it? What is this thing?" The commander checked the database. Cargo ship Iron Wake. Crew species, Velki. Passenger manifest, 1 human. Human. The commander knew that word. Every intelligent species in the galaxy knew that word. Humans were rated threat level 9. Maximum danger. Do not engage. But it was too late. They had already engaged. They had already boarded the ship. They had already made the worst mistake possible. They had made a human angry. On the Iron Wake, Una was getting tired. Even adrenaline had limits. Her body was screaming for rest. Her wounds were catching up to her. The cut on her arm was bleeding badly now. She could feel herself getting weaker, but there were still Keth on the ship. She could hear them. 20, maybe 30 left. They were gathering near the main airlock, trying to retreat to their ships. Good. Let them retreat. Let them run back to their swarm. Let them tell stories about the monster on the cargo ship. Let them spread fear. That was the human way. Humans did not just win battles. They won wars. They broke their enemies so completely that those enemies never wanted to fight again. Una walked toward the airlock. Her steps were slower now. The blade in her hand felt heavy. But she kept walking. The Keth saw her coming. 30 of them, the last survivors of the boarding party. They were scared, terrified. This tiny creature had killed more than 100 of their brothers. They had never seen anything like her. Una stopped 20 feet away. She looked at them. They looked at her. "Go," she said. Her voice was cold and empty. "Tell your swarm what happened here. Tell them what you found. Tell them what we are." She raised her blade and pointed it at the airlock. "And tell them, if they ever come back, I will kill every single one of them." The Keth did not need to be told twice. They scrambled for the airlock, pushing and shoving each other in their rush to escape. Within minutes, they were gone, flying back to their ships as fast as they could. Yuna watched them go. Then her legs gave out, and she collapsed on the floor. She lay there for a long time, staring at the ceiling. Her body was broken. Her strength was gone. But she was alive, and that was what humans did. They survived. Footsteps. Torak and his crew arrived at the airlock. They found Yuna lying in a pool of her own blood, surrounded by the bodies of enemies she had killed. Torak knelt beside her. For the first time since they met, there was no mockery in his eyes, no contempt, only respect and fear. "You saved us," he said. Yuna laughed weakly. It hurt to laugh. Everything hurt. "I was just protecting my ride," she said. "I still need to get to the outer colonies." Torak stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed too. It was a strange sound in the bloody hallway, but somehow it felt right. "Come," he said. "Let us get you to medical. You have earned more than a closet for a cabin." Morning came slowly on the Iron Wake. The ship had no windows to show the sunrise, but the lights in the hallways brightened automatically to signal a new day cycle. Yuna woke up in the medical bay. Real medical bay, not her closet. The bed was soft and warm. Clean sheets covered her body. Medical machines beeped quietly around her, monitoring her heart and blood. She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her entire body, her arms, her legs, her chest. Everything hurt. She looked down and saw bandages covering most of her skin. Someone had treated her wounds while she slept. "Do not move too much." Yuna turned her head. Torak sat in a chair beside her bed. The big Velki captain looked tired. His scales had lost some of their color. Dark circles surrounded his yellow eyes. "How long was I asleep?" Yuna asked. 14 hours, Torak said. "We did not think you would wake up. You lost so much blood." Yuna nodded slowly. That made sense. She remembered collapsing after the fight. She remembered the ceiling spinning above her. After that, nothing. "The Keth?" she asked. "Gone," Torak said. "They ran back to their swarm and left. We watched them on sensors. They did not stop until they were out of range." Good. That was good. Yuna let her head fall back on the pillow. The ceiling above was white and clean, much nicer than her closet. 43, Torak said quietly. Yuna looked at him. "What?" "You killed 43 of them." "We counted the bodies." The Velki captain shook his head slowly. 43 Keth raiders. By yourself, with guns and knives and your bare hands." Yuna did not say anything. What was there to say? Torak leaned forward in his chair. His yellow eyes studied her face like he was seeing a new species for the first time. In some ways, he was. "The database said your species is threat level 9, he said. "I did not believe it. I thought it was a mistake, old data, wrong information, but now I understand." He paused. His claws tapped against the armrest of the chair. "Why?" he asked. "Why are humans so dangerous? You are small. You have no natural weapons. Your skin is soft. Your bones are fragile. You should be prey, not predator. Why did you win?" Yuna thought about the question. It was a good question. She had asked herself the same thing many times. "Because we do not stop," she said finally. "Ever." Torak waited for more. "Millions of years ago," Yuna continued, "my ancestors lived on a planet full of creatures bigger and stronger than them. Lions, bears, wolves, things with claws and teeth that could tear humans apart in seconds." She paused to catch her breath. Talking was hard. Everything was hard. But humans survived. Do you know how? We did not fight head-on. We could not win that way. Instead, we followed our prey. We walked after them for hours, for days. We did not need to be fast because we could keep going long after other animals got tired. She looked at Torak. Other animals run fast, then rest. Humans walk slowly, then keep walking. We chase our prey until they collapse from exhaustion. Until their hearts give out, until they cannot take another step, and then we kill them. Torak's scales twitched. He understood now. Persistence hunters, he said. That is what the database called you. Yes, Yuna nodded. That is what we are. We do not stop. We do not give up. Even when we are hurt, even when we are tired, even when we are dying, we keep going. It is not bravery. It is not courage. It is just what we are. We are built to chase. We are built to endure. We are built to win. The medical bay was quiet. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. Outside, the ship hummed as it traveled through space. Torak sat back in his chair. He was quiet for a long time, thinking about what Yuna had said, thinking about what he had seen. My crew is afraid of you now, he said eventually. Vesa will not even look at you. Dask keeps asking if humans can read minds. Yuna laughed. It hurt, but she laughed anyway. I cannot read minds, she said. I am just a person, a normal human. Normal? Torak made a strange sound, almost like a laugh. You just killed 43 Keth raiders by yourself, and you call yourself normal? For a human, yes. Yuna shrugged, then winced at the pain. There are billions of us back on Earth. Many of them are stronger than me, faster, smarter, better fighters. I am nothing special. Torak stared at her. Billions of creatures like this? The thought was terrifying. Your planet must be a very scary place, he said. It is, Yuna agreed. But it is also beautiful. We have blue skies and green forests and oceans that stretch forever. We have mountains so tall they touch the clouds and deserts so hot they can kill in hours. We have storms that destroy cities and cold that freezes everything solid. She smiled, and for a moment, the coldness left her eyes. Earth made us strong, she said. It tried to kill us every day for millions of years. And we survived. That is the real reason humans are threat level 9. We come from a world that never stopped trying to destroy us. And we beat it. Torak nodded slowly. He was beginning to understand. This small creature, this human, was not dangerous because of her size or her strength. She was dangerous because she came from a world of monsters, and she had learned to be the biggest monster of all. The outer colonies, he said, changing the subject. Why do you want to go there? What is your private business? Yuna's smile faded. The coldness returned to her eyes. Raiders, she said. 5 years ago, raiders attacked my family's settlement. They killed my parents, took everything we had. Torak's scales shifted color. He knew about raiders. Everyone knew about raiders. You want revenge, he said. Yes. Against raiders? They travel in groups, dozens of them, hundreds sometimes. Yuna looked at him. Her eyes were empty and hard like black stones. Good, she said. More targets. Torak felt a chill run through his body. He had seen what this human could do to 43 Keth. He could imagine what she would do to the people who had killed her parents. They would not stand a chance. When we reach the outer colonies, Torak said slowly, I will help you find information. I know people there. Traders, smugglers, people who hear things. If your raiders are out there, we will find them. Yuna looked at him in surprise. Why would you help me? Torak stood up from his chair. He looked down at the small human who had saved his ship and his crew. Because you saved our lives, he said, and because I want to see what happens when you find them. He walked to the door, then stopped and looked back. Rest now. You have earned it. When you are healed, we will talk about your mission. He left. The door closed behind him. Yuna lay in the medical bed, staring at the ceiling. Her body was broken, but her mind was clear. The raiders who had killed her parents were still out there, still breathing, still alive. That would change. She closed her eyes and let sleep take her. She dreamed of Earth, of blue skies and green forests. She dreamed of her parents, smiling and happy. She dreamed of the day she would find the ones who had taken them. And she dreamed of what she would do when that day came. Outside the medical bay, Torak returned to the bridge. His crew looked at him with questioning eyes. "How is she?" Vesa asked. "Healing," Torak said. "She will be fine." "What do we do now?" Dask asked. "About her, I mean. About what she is." Torak looked at the view screen. Stars stretched across the darkness, bright and endless. "We do nothing," he said. "We take her where she wants to go. We help her if we can, and we stay out of her way." He sat in his captain's chair and stared at the stars. "The galaxy is a big place," he said quietly, "full of dangerous things. But the most dangerous thing I have ever seen is a 5'2" human with a knife." He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "I am glad she is on our side." The Iron Wake flew on through the darkness, carrying its crew toward the outer colonies. And somewhere in its medical bay, a small human slept peacefully, dreaming of the hunt to come. This was what humans were: persistence hunters, survivors, monsters made by a monster world. And they never, ever stopped.